His
Here.
voice just went. Yes. Councilmember Wu,
Here.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the mayor, of course, he will be back in a few minutes. Welcome to the July 16, 2020 City Council meeting. As we begin our meeting, I would remind you to please turn off or silence your cell phone and to refrain from engaging in any activity that might interfere with the orderly conduct of the meeting. To limit the potential spread of COVID-19, the following procedures has been initiated. Members of the public may attend and participate only via live stream or phone. This change in format is consistent with Executive Order 20-69 issued by Governor Ron DeSantis and has been adopted at the discretion of the Council President in consultation with the City Attorney. To watch the meeting live, the public may visit cityofpensacola.com/428/live meeting-video or visit Mayor Grover Robinson's Facebook page at facebook.com/Pensacola Mayor. The Leroy Board form, for those who have submitted a request to speak, staff will call the person at the appropriate time so that the citizen can directly address the City Council using a telephone held up to a microphone. Note that there is a time delay of about 1 minute between the action in council chambers and what is seen to the public watching live stream. No forms will be accepted after the 5:30 p.m. deadline for the Leroy Board form. There will be only one Leroy Board form tonight. For agenda items, citizens may submit an online form at www.cityofpensacola.com/cc input beginning at 3 p.m. on the day of the council meeting until that agenda item has been voted upon to indicate they wish to comment on a specific item on the agenda. Please be sure to include a phone number. Staff will call the person at the appropriate time so that the citizen can directly address the City Council using a telephone held up to a microphone for the benefit of City Council to receive public input on a specific agenda item. Note there is a time delay of about 1 minute between action in council chamber and what is seen to the public watching live stream. Anyone who wants to speak on an agenda item must submit their form before the agenda item is voted on. Any form received after the agenda item has been voted on will not be considered. The chair will have the authority to conduct the meetings in accordance with council rules and procedures, Robert's Rules of Order, and state statute. Following the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, we will conduct a public forum known as the Leroy Board Forum for any subject not on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes unless it is necessary to shorten the time so all speakers may be heard. Speakers are expected to refrain from remarks or activity that will violate our rules of order and decorum. At this time, I invite you to stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be done by myself and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Andy Tahar.
Ma'am, before
Yes.
I give the invocation, one second, please. For those attending via Teams, if you could please mute your microphone. We're getting a lot of background noise that's coming from one of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Please stand for the invocation. God, we are casting our cares upon you. Bless this council, our city, and nation. Continue to provide wisdom in order that we may lead our community forward under your grace. Guide us towards a mindset of unity. Provide healing to our land as we work under the comfort of your grace and mercy. Amen. Councilmember Tahar.
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The Leroy Board Forum, public comment upon any subject not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, Mr. Crayer.
Yes, ma'am. If you're ready.
Ready for me?
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 2 minutes, or I'm sorry, 3 minutes, and the floor is
Okay.
yours.
Okay, sure. My name is Sina McDaniel, and my address is 7120 Spanish Trail, Pensacola, Florida, 32504.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight, City Council. I brought my concerns regarding 5G to you all last month, and I was told by Don Crater that someone would be contacting me on the issue, and I've yet to hear from anyone from the city regarding that from last month. I realize that where I am located with my office, we're on Plantation Road, that we actually do fall in the county, and we have contacted the county regarding the 5G tower. The county rep told us that because the tower is going to be placed in a right-of-way, that it actually will belong to the city at that point. So the tower that's going to be installed in front of our office is being erected by Verizon, and I've tried to call Verizon and get some information from them regarding permits. How did they get information about putting the tower here? Who did they speak with? And we've pretty much gotten no information back from them. Verizon likes to market themselves as a good neighbor, but when you get right down to it, they're kind of a bad corporate citizen, because a good neighbor is going to communicate with you and let you know what's going on, and probably even go so far as to give you some sort of notice, and we got absolutely nothing from Verizon. So that's just something to think about and consider when you're thinking about who's going to be putting these towers in. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, I'm asking you to please go back and revisit the ordinance for the City of Pensacola. Take another look at options for these towers. I recently read a statement from our mayor, Mayor Robinson, regarding the face mask that was printed online, and just one sentence out of this jumped out at me, and I really wanted to just read this to you tonight because it kind of ties in with this whole thing. If you'll allow me just to read this sentence, it says, "Our top priority in the city of Pensacola is the health and safety of our citizens, and we have to take action to protect our community during these unprecedented times. Mayor Robinson." And I say thank you very much for that, Mayor. We appreciate that. And if that's a true statement, then you must take that same action and deny these applications for these 5G towers coming into Pensacola. There's so much information from scientists, reputable scientists, and reputable universities on the study of the radiation that comes from the towers.
10 seconds left, ma'am.
And this is not a conspiracy theory, it is legitimate research. So there are many concerned citizens in Pensacola. I'm not just one voice, there are many of us. So we hope that the City Council and the Mayor will do the right thing and take our health and safety in consideration when you are...
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Anderson, please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes, and the floor is yours.
My name is David Anderson. I live at 1817 East Aurora Street, Pensacola, 32501. My statement is about 5G. Last September, I asked you to place 5G on the agenda and amend Pensacola's wireless ordinance. I asked because we learned Verizon planned to install a 5G antenna right next to a neighbor's home. I now ask the city to not issue a permit for the 5G application at 19th and Johnson. 5G cell phones and antennas fit their neighborhoods for kept litter. The aesthetics are not pretty. The previous Pensacola mayor said 5G antennas would be no larger than a small backpack and would replace large cell towers. But the actual plans near our homes are very different. In our historic neighborhood, Verizon now plans to place 3 large 5G panel antennas, a 4G omnidirectional antenna on top, and a lot of support equipment too. All of these right next to homes. It will reduce property values 20% because nobody wants to live next to a cell phone. I attended a meeting with 20 neighborhood residents and city and state representatives last fall. and the city council still has not amended their ordinance. The city still has not done anything meaningful to address the problem. The one action, making 5G a state legislative priority, is meaningless because there is no state bill pending, and Representative Andrade has made it clear he has no intention of introducing such a bill. Did you know that large insurance companies review RF radiation as an emerging risk? The Swiss reinsurance company recognizes the growing concerns about the health implications of 5G and deems liability claims from RF radiation exposure a high-impact emerging risk. Quote, to allow for functional network coverage and increase capacity overall, more antennas will be needed, including acceptance of higher levels of electromagnetic radiation. End quote. He explains, I provided the City Council Attorney Don Prayer with one page from this insurance report and asked you to read it. A published paper by Michigan Tech professor Josh Pierce recommends a 500 feet of buffer between cell towers and homes to reduce liability risks. The next time you visit the Cactus Fleur restaurant on 12th Avenue, look at the size of the cell towers on 12th and Marble. They are right next to homes. Pensacola residents are being exposed to risks, and insurance companies are now warning as there is no liability exposure. I am pro-tech, but I am also pro-health. So I think there are ways to help cell towers.
10 seconds left. Mr. Anderson, 10 seconds left.
I ask you to consider these arrests. Do not issue a permit for 5G at 19th and Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Robinson, Mayor Robinson, did you want to speak or wait
No,
till after they speak?
And I certainly was happy with, I just want to set the expectation. I'm happy to get the county attorney. I mean, this is one of the challenges we continue to have. We fully understand. It has been a priority of ours to have local control over this, but at this point, it is illegal for us to prevent the permit in any way, and any delay the permit in any way due to state law. Even if this council was to decide to make a ordinance disallowing 5G, that would also be illegal. And I know that there's been a recent lawsuit by several cities that was thrown out, and I'm going to give the city attorney a chance to comment on any of those things.
Mayor, President, and council members, as the mayor just alluded to, there was a lawsuit filed by, I believe it was 3 different local governments to try to address the fact that the state has preempted local governments' abilities to regulate the 5G wireless. That lawsuit was dismissed. At this time, the state has preempted the local government's ability to regulate the 5G wireless installations. There is a permitting process with a very short deadline, and we have to meet that. If we don't meet that deadline, they get to install their equipment. And other than aesthetics, we really don't have any control or ability to prevent Verizon or any of the other companies from installing the equipment that they intend to install. And even the aesthetics, there's limitations on that. So, unfortunately, as has been said at several different meetings before tonight, the citizens need to take this to Tallahassee. They need to talk to their state representatives. They need to talk to their state senators and the governor, because that's where the power lies at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cryer?
Thank you. Mr. Beasley, please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes, and the floor is yours.
Okay, my name is Frederick Chad Beasley. I live at 2004 Cypress Street, Pensacola, Florida. Okay? I am a victim of a crime, and my wife attacked me, and she slipped and fell not only once and twice, and the police department came to the house, and I was arrested because her and her friend fabricated a story that I pushed her. I have never pushed her, never touched her. The irony of the thing is I have clear, overwhelming evidence that she lied. And this is a total fabrication. I have been in the Pensacola Police Department on a number of times. I've been asked to leave. I've been hung up on. As far as I'm concerned, Tommy, the police chief, is the most corrupt I've ever seen, and the whole department is corrupt. Let me explain why. I had the evidence, and you know what? I called a county sheriff, and he came in, and he looked at my evidence, and he said, sir, what you've got is they are screwing up. They need to take care of their problem. They totally are in the wrong, and you need to file a formal complaint with the Pensacola Police Department, which I did, and they obviously lost the report. Finally, after I talked to somebody in Internal Affairs, first thing out of his mouth was, we did nothing wrong. I thought Internal Affairs was going to take a look at the situation. But I finally convinced him I wanted to talk to a detective. So I talked to Detective Burlington. And I told him the evidence. He never was going to meet. He was going to meet with me. Never did. Okay? But he says, if she did this, what you said she did, and you have evidence, I'm going to bring her in and interrogate her, and she needs to go to jail. That's right out of Detective Burlington's mouth. Okay, so 2 weeks go by, nothing happens. So finally I call him, and he said, well, I've been busy. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over and see her, and then I will question her. Okay? So the next thing I know, I call him 2 weeks later, and he said, no, you need to battle out in court. We're not going to do anything about it. I said, I'm the victim here. She was never the victim. Her and her friend, Gigi Lambert, they got together and fabricated the story, and I go to jail because of their fabrication. Now, I settled on disorderly conduct because I did yell at her. That's what started the whole conversation anyway. We were at a restaurant on the Kingfisher, and I yelled at her because it's 12 o'clock at night, and I work construction, and I work hard, and I wanted to go home. So we go home. We live up
10
there.
seconds
I'm
left,
cleaning.
Mr. Beasley, 10 seconds left.
So anyway, you know they are corrupt, and now it is the council. They need to look at it because it's not stopping here. I will go to every news agency.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley. Thank you. Mr. Herron?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. You're on the clock now.
John Herron, 1900 East Blue Road. There's an application for a 4G and 5G antenna blocked from my home. The application is incomplete, and I respectfully ask the city not to issue a permit based on this incomplete application. It's incomplete because the exact antennas are not specified, nor the operating frequencies or power output. It proposes 3 large 5G panel antennas and a large 4G omnidirectional antenna on top. It's not the size of a small backpack, as we are assured. And a tsunami of these 5G4 antennas is coming unless you act. Yeah, she does not even list the proposed FCC radiation signage. A NEPA review is not listed, and pursuant to the federal decision last summer, it is required for each and every wireless facility application. I understand you don't want to take on Telecom Corporation, but you should. Pensacola's wireless ordinance does not take into account federal court decisions handed down after our ordinance was adopted. These decisions mandate NEPA reviews and other requirements. This case is Katua v. FCC, decided last August by the Court of Appeals of the D.C. Circuit. As to health, it's clear today, not listening to science gets us in trouble. I provided reports from top federal agencies on the dangers of radiation close to homes. Pensacola residents are rightfully concerned about 5G because of the unprecedented increase in cell poles and antennas in residential neighborhoods. Local governments are the last protection for our health, safety, and welfare. You are the last line of defense. Siding with Verizon is as dangerous as the radiation from a 5G pole because Verizon lies. Here's what we can do. Cities like Easton, Western Springs, Sandy Springs, and others ceased processing 5G applications during their pandemic
because it overburdens staff charged with protecting our health. You should too. Like us, Sandy Springs is in the 11th Circuit and has not been sued. In fact, Verizon is a defendant in Casper's v. Verizon filed last month. The fact is, local officials have legal authority over 5G wireless facilities, including the capacity to require a needs test, by which a significant gap in coverage must be shown before an installation. When things go wrong, and they will, telecoms will say we complied with city ordinances. 5G applications that fail to meet federal requirements should not be issued a permit. Amend our out-of-date ordinance. Do not issue a permit for the 5G application at 19th and Jackson and all other sites where applications are incomplete. Our ordinance is only 2 pages long and does not serve your constituents nor fulfill the requirements of federal law available to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herron.
Madam President, we had one other request to speak by a Janie Myrick. I've attempted her phone number 3 separate times and have gotten a voicemail each time.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on. Thank you.